All right, guys, today we finally found a better piece of the 60 side of this leather rear seat on this 99 Suburban LT. And so I'm going to be showing you how to do the replacement of the seat cover for this, the 60 side. In a previous video, we did the 40 side of the 60/40 bench. And if you're interested in that, I'll put a link up in the upper right for that video, but this side's going to be the 60. And this one's not as bad as the 40. We don't have any rips, but obviously we have the upper leather seating surface is separating off, and so we're getting this unsightly view, and finally found something decent to replace it with. So to get this off, so there's no aftermarket supplier for this, so your only source is going to be a salvage yard and waiting for something better than what you have. To get the seat off at the salvage yard or in your vehicle, you're going to grab the strap and you're going to lift it up. And then if you pull up on the carpeting, you'll find you've got a couple of 10mm bolts holding the hinge on each side. So in order to get this guy separated off, that's all we have to do is to remove these two and the other two. So let me grab the ratchet and we'll pull this guy off. Alright, so we just manually pull this guy out. We left the bottom one in until we got the other side off. Just manually finish taking him off as well. Now you might have pieces of the material when it was assembled by the factory originally that have stuck onto the hinge. Just very carefully get that off. That side's free. All right, so what we'll do is we'll clean up some of this residue with some goof off, or maybe even some turpentine or something like that. They'll get this dried up glue from this leather off of here. But that's it. Now we can take the seat out and start disassembling it. All right, guys, so we got this here. What I recommend you do before you take the cover off, and again, you could just, if you found one in really good shape, both the seat cover and the frame, you could just bolt it in, reversing what I showed earlier. In this case, my frame is in really great shape, and the ones I came across with nice seating surfaces all had very rusty frames. So I removed the cover from the frame, and that's what I'm going to do here, and reuse my frame, which is in good condition. While it's still put together, if you go that route, you want to treat and clean the new piece. And I'm just going to show you on the old piece just for illustration, but similar to what we showed in the earlier video, you want to first use some type of leather degreaser. I like this Leather Masters product. I'll put a link in the description for these. And what this kind of a product does is when you apply it onto the leather, it lifts off all of the years of sweat and grease from people's legs and arms sitting on the leather. It makes a good start for getting it ready to treat and clean further. The second thing I like to use is this Armor All Leather Care Protectant. This is a good initial cleaner. You could probably even stop with this if you wanted, but since most of these vehicles, nobody ever really took care of the leather, I start with that, and then I end up with this Leather Honey leather cleaner. Right, so this is another product. All three of these, I'll put you in the description, but that's what I use to treat this. And as you go through it and do those 3 steps and get done, and after you have all that done, then you can pull the piece off like I did here. And this is the new piece that we're going to be putting on. It's got a couple of little dents and defects, but you're not going to find anything perfect nowadays, but that's the shape it'll be in after you get done. So to get the cover off of the frame, I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to start with this back side. Now on this design, there's a couple of different designs. This design has kind of like these interlocking pieces of plastic. if I can find a weak spot. Yeah, maybe on this side here. Okay, so this side's a little weaker. And you got to unplug this from this groove. Once you get one side going, they come off pretty easy. There's another design, which is, again, just like we showed on the 40 piece in the earlier video, there can be different suppliers to GM. We can see on this design, it's held on by Velcro. And then there's just a long piece that clips onto the frame. So just be aware that GM had a couple of different upholstery suppliers, and you'll run into different designs. So I'm trying to show both here. After that, we can pull off the Velcro along the sides. And then we've got to get it unhooked here and unhooked here. Squish the cushion on each side so you can get those off. All right, so at this point we got those off, and now there's 3 here. Same thing. We're going to squish the cushion down so we can get some slack. Now we got those 3 off. Now at this point we can start taking it off from the front here. I can see at one point some of the kids years ago left a piece of candy wrapper in there. You'll find all kinds of things in here. Actually, the one I got from the salvage yard, we found a ring in it. So extra bonus prize. All right, so we're going to squish this down and work it off the edge of the cushion, just like that. You're going to kind of roll it off because you don't want to damage the cushion. And what you'll find as you start to get it off is it's also held on with Velcro. And you'll want to get that going so nothing tears. This is a really, really strong kind of Velcro too. Just going to kind of help it along with your finger just so that nothing tears. Similar to this side, we're going to squish and roll. And we're going to reach down, find the Velcro. Separate it apart with our fingers. All right, seat belts come through. You might have to come up on this side and turn them sideways one at a time, but they'll come through. There's that one, and there's that one. Pull it off on that side. Now, the only hard part is the strap. We turn this guy over again. Actually, I forgot something, guys. Before we can do that, we've got to get these 2 headrest, the little plastic piece where you put the headrest in when you lay the seat down. There's one here, and there's one here. I forgot to pop those out. We get a smaller piece of wood, and we'll tap those out, and then we'll be able to pull it off the rest of the way. So I don't know if you can see it right there, but there's one of them right there. And the other one is right here. Right, maybe we'll do this one first since it might be easier to see. Just going to get the wood up right against it. Take a small hammer. There's one. 2. All right, with those guys off, and we don't have anything in the way. Sorry about that. So now we're back to just the strap. It's the only thing that's holding the cover on. And if we look underneath, we can't really get access, right? Because this was all put together and then hooked up to this cable, and then this whole thing was just all welded up, and you can't get to it anymore. Now you might be able to get to it if you were to try and pull off the cushion, but easiest way, because unlike the 40 side, what I've found is these don't really have a slit where you can slide this guy off, right? So it's just solid here. So if I can open this up to show you, for those of you that doubt it, you see there's no slit here at all. So there's no way to slide this off. So the only way to get this off is to push it through. Push it through the plastic. And there's a retainer down here in the middle that's going to grab the stitching. And so what we're going to have to do is overcome that. So we're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to help us with that. We only have to worry about it on the one side. And just go nice and slow so you don't rip anything. But eventually, you'll be able to get this stitching past that retainer, and then it's off. And this, watch this Velcro, guys, because it's super aggressive. All right. Now that's the old one, and now we're going to install the replacement one, but first we're going to clean this guy up. All right, we've got our frame and pad assembly all cleaned up. Now we're ready to reassemble. So we're going to open this guy up like this. We'll start with the front here. The key is you want to get it in nice and evenly. So just like last time, you're going to kind of squish as you go. Just kind of rotate it around. All right, when you get to about this stage, then we're going to route the seat belts through, and we're going to pull the strap through. So we'll flip it over. We'll locate our seat belts and we'll feed them through one at a time. So there's that one. And then the other one. Where'd he go? There he is. All right. Almost got it, guys. All right. So there's that. And now the strap. So we'll find where the strap is. Make sure it's not kinked up. So you're looking on the other side, right? We're making sure it's not kinked up. Take our screwdriver, give ourselves some leverage, pull it through. Okay, now we can go back underneath and finish pulling it on to the frame. as it feels like it's on all the way over there. We'll give it a squish and we'll try to get these retainers then to start helping us. If you can't get them on, then you haven't got it squished enough. All right, so there's one. This one, I'm going to have to put some more weight on it. All right, that one's on. Now this one. All right. Now this one. And this one. Rotate it around here. There's that one. Now we can pull the carpeting into position. Make sure everything looks like it's lining up okay. And then we can position our headrest plungers. Be very gentle when you're doing this because you could easily tear it. But you're going to want to work this around until these are centered. This might require getting on it, giving it some pressure. That looks like I cut myself. And continuing to push and pull while it's got your weight on it. Eventually, we'll get it over enough to where we can put those back in. Like this one here is probably as good as we're going to get it. I can go in here. Remember that the notch is going to face the bottom of the seat assembly. Just make sure you're not pinching anything. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Okay, now we're ready to carry it back to the truck and reattach the 10mm bolts. All right, guys, we've got this one back on. We cleaned off that old dried up leather, probably from wet paint at the time this was made. Just going to show you on this side what you want to watch for. You can see the witness marks from where the bolts were previously. And so what you want to do is make sure that, let's get this out of your way, make sure as you tighten them up, that you get them back where they were. That was a little off. Let's try again. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to see if the latch mechanism is lined up properly. All right, good. So no further adjustments. So now the only other thing we've got is there's a couple of small tears on this piece. So good other than that. And what I'm going to do is the last thing I'm going to show you is on this other side. You can't see from where the camera is, but we'll bring it over and I'm going to show you how you go about repairing something like that. And that'll be the last thing we show in this video. All right, so hopefully there's not too much glare from the sun here, guys, but little tears like this are inevitable. So here's a product I use to repair stuff like that from RH Adhesives, Dual 88, which is a leather adhesive. We're going to use that to fix this along with a toothpick. So what we're going to do is going to open up our adhesive. It's one of these deals where it's got a ball applicator on there, brush applicator rather, on the end for larger repairs, but for something small like this, just going to get it right into the cut like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small little microfiber piece of cloth here, wipe up the residue, and then I'm going to use the end of the toothpick to kind of get this guy where we would want it to adhere. And then we're just going to hold it until it adheres. And sometimes you might have to do a couple of applications of this because I'm trying to be very conservative here so that we're going to be able to see it, but we don't want it to stick out where it's going to get further damage, right? So we're going to end up with something like that when we're all done. Going to keep manipulating this and holding it in different corners until it dries. But anyway, I hope this video helped you out. If you had this particular problem, keep in mind that these parts are not interchangeable between the Suburbans and the smaller SUVs like the Yukon, the Escalade, and the Tahoe. But the procedure I went through is going to be the same for both. It's just different sizes. So you can interchange between a Yukon and a Tahoe, for example, but you can't interchange the seat covers or the seat assemblies with a Suburban. So just keep that in mind when you're at the salvage yard. This particular video is going to cover probably 96 through 99 Suburbans. I don't think it's the same. It might be in a 95. I haven't personally looked, so be careful if you look at that, but I'm going to list the video as 96 to 99. If you got questions or comments or anything about this video you didn't understand, leave a question below and I'll try to help. If you found this video useful, it saved you some money, and it got your old OBS SUV back on the road, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.